Welcome, comrades, to another dive into the grim but fascinating world of 1984. One striking feature of the architecture of Winston's London are the huge pyramidal ministry buildings that dwarf everything else. What's odd, however, is that despite their immense size and scale, that there's no mention of one ever being bombed to rubble by either Eurasia or East Asia. We know the war is perpetual and that rocket bombs frequently fall on London, causing destruction and death. And yet, none of these obvious targets are hit. So, why is this? Well, firstly, I wouldn't be totally sure that the buildings haven't been struck. The language would suggest not. Indeed, when Winston refers directly to the bombings, and even in relation to the buildings themselves, he never recalls a time. Indeed, he thinks this, quote, "His heart quailed before the enormous pyramidal shape. It was too strong. It could not be stormed. 1,000 rocket bombs would not batter it down." So importantly, he never says, back in this year or whatever one was hit. He speaks in terms of cynicism, that the building could ever be battered down. The language then suggests that they had not been struck, or if they had, it had been one or two, which caused such insignificant damage as to not even be worth mentioning. Even if Winston was out by half, and, say, to do a decent job of bringing down the structure, you'd need 500 such bombs, this is still unlikely to occur. We see the bombs drop on seemingly random pro areas in isolated blasts. The bombs never cluster, or there are never multiple hits in one place. Even if one bomb were to strike a ministry building then, it would likely only cause minor damage, perhaps even so negligible that it's not even worth mentioning. I don't believe this. As many of you may know, the bombings are controversial and somewhat of a conspiratorial subject, even for our two main characters within the novel. Julia herself outright says that she believes it's the government of Oceania itself that bombs London and other places. Winston is at first taken aback at this, something he had never really considered before, but I think he later comes around to the idea. He notes too how the frequency of bombings only increases in the run-up to Hate Week, as if to provoke the proles into an even greater and appropriate rage. This seems to work too. One bomb explodes at a crowded film theatre in Stepney, slaying several hundred people, while another fell on a piece of wasteland used as a playground by kids, and several dozen of these were killed. The latter event provoked angry demonstrations in which Goldstein's effigy was burnt. Many posters of the Eurasian soldier were ripped down and added to the flames, while looting also occurred, and an old prole couple suspected of being foreign spies were killed through suffocation when their house was set ablaze by the mob. This seems very suspicious, and perhaps with no other law evidence we might pass even this off as horrible coincidence. However, later on in Goldstein's book, Winston and we seem to have confirmation of the Oceania bombs Oceanians theory. The context of the following extract is the perpetual war between the three superpowers. Quote, "In our own day, they are not fighting against one another at all. The war is waged by each ruling group against its own subjects, and the object of the war is not to make or prevent conquests of territory, but to keep the structure of society intact." Given we know the descriptive parts of the book are true, and have no real reason to doubt this, we can conclude that O'Brien and his colleagues, the true authors of the book, are admitting that they order the bombings to keep the war atmosphere alive. This serves to unite the proles in eternal anger against the enemy of the moment, directing their anger outwards at the perceived foreign and domestic enemies. It makes perfect sense then why no bomb is ever permitted to strike key government buildings, as this would not be in keeping with the purpose of the war. Indeed, killing many of its servants, who also help keep the structure of society intact, doesn't make any sense. While the inner party are happy to purge many over an extended period of time, to lose a lot of outer party comrades at once would likely be disruptive. And although we do see this in more historical regimes such as the Red Army in the Soviet Union, I don't think it can be a regular occurrence, otherwise the organs of state would not meet minimum standards to keep the societal structure intact. I wager too that no bomb generally falls on outer party districts, and certainly nowhere near inner party ones. It's intriguing, as you would think that the odd prole every now and then questions why it's always their lot dying in these attacks. Perhaps every so often a bomb is permitted to kill a few outer party members at the same time. We know outer party comrades probably get hit by bombs singularly and likely fairly often, as Winston himself barely survived such an attack in the novel. Perhaps reports of such deaths in the ranks of their betters does much to assuage any such suspicions from the odd few proles, and I suspect that even if it didn't, that such a curious prole would likely not be too long for this world anyway, once word of his musings got to the wrong ears of a ThinkPol agent. Recall the extract before too, how the proles were driven to burn down an old couple's house as they were suspected of having been spies. Note also in Goldstein's book how proles were also controlled via rumours by the Fort Police. Quote, "To keep them in control was not difficult. A few agents of the Fort Police moved always among them, spreading false rumours and marking down and eliminating the few individuals who were judged capable of becoming dangerous." Notice the rumours part. I don't know about you, but this fits pretty well with the old couple rumour we saw before. Add into all of this total control of the media too, and people like Winston could easily put out news how an unlucky inner party man or woman was struck by such a bomb, even if this was totally false. In any case, how would any prole know the difference? So as we can see, the law evidence overwhelmingly supports the idea of the inner party being behind the bombing attacks, which explains why few, if any, bombs hit the ministry buildings. We've also seen why any prole suspicions could be easily allayed through false rumours and media reports. Finally, even if all, or more likely a small few of these rocket bomb attacks were of genuine Eurasian or East Asian origins, these powers have no incentive to target key structures or persons. This is because we already know that the purpose of the war is to maintain peace, ironically enough, and the societal structure each elite endures through. Just as no power desires conquest of an enemy's core lands, neither would bombing key enemy government buildings be wise, as it would surely provoke similar attacks on their key buildings. As we've seen though, it's likely no bombs even originate from either enemy power. Those were my thoughts on the whole question of why London's ministry buildings are not bombed in 1984. Do you disagree? What are your theories? Write them in the comments section, and give the video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and in return, I'll drink a toast of victory gin to your health. Thank you, comrades, and remember, Big Brother is watching you.